Yeah, guys. So welcome back to a little bit of a. I know that I named the title "New Idea," but this is not what we're doing. Minecraft is. I promise you, Minecraft is not what we're doing. So everybody knows what Minecraft
I
is.
thought we were blacksmith. Oh.
Okay, so basically, guys, what we're going to be doing with the channel, what I'm going to be doing with this part of the channel now, is I'm going to kind of talk about some video game ideas. I know I didn't probably put the video game title for this one in yet, so I hope you guys can forgive about that. We were gonna do BioShock, which is what we were gonna do, and we were gonna go to like the video game area to like show you guys clips and stuff from the game and all that.
Sorry.
Anyway, we were trying to get other stuff to get going on there. Anyway, we tried to do it on the game itself, but since BioShock is a very old game, unless you go on computer or you're sponsored by the same people who made the game, you will not be able to like record during it. BioShock Infinite, there was no problem with it, but everything else, not really. So yeah, guys, today for the first episode, we're gonna be talking about BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite. So basically, what I'm gonna do is start talking like piece by piece how the game was played out, what the game was supposed to represent, and what the game is also supposed to, how stuff came to be. And Golden Sibling,
Ask questions.
yeah, but Golden Sibling number 2 is here to basically give some ideas that you think that would be you didn't think you could say yet you wanted to know. Like for instance, the plasmas. Why did they come up with plasmas so far in the future? I would be able to answer that. She's basically going to be here listening to the conversation, and she wanted to join in the game also. So she said I told her if there was any kind of questions that she would think of asking, I told her to just ask. Really. Anywho, enough with the talking. Let's get to the talking of the video games. So Bioshock 1 started with you, a man who is on an airplane, blacks out, and starts and the plane crashes. You have no idea what happened, yet you wake up, you head to a lighthouse in the middle of nowhere, and we think if I believe so, Bioshock took place in the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean, once you go in, you find a deep sub gear, aka one of those subs that you use to get in and out of the city. Sorry if I yawn a little bit, guys. Just a heads up.
Submarine? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, there's like, as Golden Submarine number 2 said, guys, you guys can really hear her very well. I'll repeat what she said. There's submarines, and I said, to be honest, yes, they are submarines, but they're kind of like sub cars. They have a certain order and a certain way of getting around the city. If they get too close to a building, they'll either try to pull very hard to get to the right area, or they'll need a place to guide them in a certain area around Bioshock. And as you saw in Bioshock 1, that was the only form of transportation. But for Bioshock 2, when you're the Big Daddy, you get to just walk in the water to every other destination until you get to the train car. The train cars are different from the sub cars. The sub cars are personally bought if you are rich and can afford your own. The 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 sub-train is for other people who can't afford that but need it to get to the jobs around Bioshock, aka mean the Sinclair Dome, Fontaine Futuristics, Ryan Industries, all those Greek companies had those kind of vehicles leading to them. So Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2 and even Bioshock Infinite all had something in common. That one thing was, everyone was trying to do something to either A, get away from God, or B, was trying to tell the prophecy because of God. In Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2, they talked about Rapture and regular people on the surface as the parasites, or we are the family. As to be honest with most of you guys, when I first heard that, to be completely honest with you, I thought it was some kind of cult status right there. Like when most of the splicers wouldn't even like talk about something, they would be like, "What the heck is going on with this guy?" But in Bioshock 1, they talk about more of the parasites, people turning on one another, and most people in like Bioshock 1, where everybody's ready to kill you just to get Adam or from the Little Sisters, Bioshock 2 is more like you disobey us, you disobey the way of God, the way of the family, you betray us, you betray everyone. You guys know that stuff. Bioshock Infinite is more like the face of God. They think the prophet, Father Comstock, saw God in the guardian angel of life. He says that God told him to get this child out of the real world because her power would overextend her own, aka meaning other stuff intended. Because, as we all know, Elizabeth was able to open up tears. Tears are kind of like a dimensional portal that she can open up to, but they're just like regular portals.
Make sure you're specifying that this is Bioshock.
Bioshock Infinite was basically instead of having splicers and other stuff there, you have regular people. But regular people willing to do anything to escape from God, but able to do something to get into heaven. Basically, Bioshock Infinite took into the sky. The only way you could get around was with a little trolley car, as one would say. Trolley cars. Anyway, trolley cars were usually used to get around the city. The more the city had out into the clouds. The reasons for... Okay, I'm gonna be real here. Some of the scientific crap for Bioshock I don't know a lot about, but I can at least give you some details on what they were saying. So anyway, they said the city in Bioshock Infinite was suspending in air because of some kind of chemical that allowed them to use clouds and to hold them in place. So in shorter terms, in kids' version of this video, think of My Little Pony, okay? I know that's probably the worst kind of thing I could give right now, but just go along with it, people. I don't have a lot of brain activity going on right now. Work with me here. Work with me here. In My Little Pony, you will see that, like, the Pegasus can walk on clouds and be suspended in clouds. They can have houses in clouds. They can have anything made of clouds. Bioshock Infinite's not like that, mind you, and I understand that, but think of it like this, okay? You all thinking about this? Think of it like the clouds hold up the buildings, but everything else they have to find a way to get to. That's all the clouds would do. And the chemicals will extra extend, making it higher on oxygen for them to be able to breathe and be able to do more stuff with. So going to way number 2, real quickly, do you have any questions? Because I've actually not heard you yet say anything about Bioshock yet.
Well, so why would the city be like a, I guess, getaway from God, if you...
Which one, for Bioshock 1 and 2, or for Bioshock Infinite?
Either one.
So anyone you're asking for.
Oh, you know what? How about this? Why did, in Bioshock Infinite, why did they believe that you were Satan's spawn? Like, why would they believe you?
So basically, why do you think I was the false shepherd? That's what it's called. So, for those of you who don't really know in the Bible and all that stuff, and I don't know much about the Bible, but I did hear a lot about the false shepherd as I did research on that once. It turns out the false shepherd was like a person for God. He was the devil's kind of like errand boy. They said that the false shepherd led a shepherd he would lead people astray, aka meaning he would lead them to death and being worshipping the devil and all that and disobeying the way of the Lord. So when you Booker DeWitt in the game, sorry it took me a second to think about his name, Booker DeWitt was notified as the false shepherd because he had the symbols AD. The AD symbols, I did not really look much into it, but I would have to guess it's some kind of devilish symbol saying, hey, I'm the false shepherd, get ready to be killed, or don't let my people lead you a flock. As Father Comstock clearly says, bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. As you all know, Booker DeWitt had a lot of drinking problems because of his time in the army. The time in the army made him go crazy because he had a daughter. If I had to guess, Booker DeWitt's wife, emphasis on wife, must have passed away during A, childbirth, or B, she did not want anything to do with the child, so she just straight abandoned Booker with the kid. Booker was thereby owing debt, so one man said, bring us the girl, and I will wipe away your debt, aka meaning bring me your daughter, and aka I will personally bring you, pay off everything you owe. A debt-free life, or he was probably paying him back in money. Either way, this is what. Sorry if I'm a little bit of a spoiling some of the video game eras, guys, but I wanted to get some of it out of the way. Anyway, to continue, you're getting more. Hang on, guys. Let me pause this little thing. You're getting way too more into Minecraft than you are. I'm kind of regretting. I don't care. You knew that.
I want Team Mom.
You can't. Anyway, guys, sorry about that. Let me continue this. Anyway, as I was saying, the AD symbol stands for the assistant of the devil. Assistant devil, as one would say. That's why it would mostly say AD. If it says something else, please leave in the comments below, and I'll be sure to identify it later, and I apologize. So anyway, there was something else I wanted to go over about BioShock, and this is what I actually looked up about a lot more, was how BioShock Infinite and BioShock 2 were so high in advance in technology, yet down here in like the surface, or its surfaces, like from the bottom or the top, depending on which BioShock you look at, like, think about this for a second. Like, if you think about this for a second, BioShock 1 had auto turrets, auto flamethrowers, had all this kind of technology-based surgery, medicine, all that. And yet the surface doesn't know about it, because BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, they're all above the air and under the sea. The more you think about it, the more you think. The more you think, the more you start to wonder and posture about what you can do. But moving on to the little suggestion, and this is what I actually looked up as well, not now, but earlier before we started this little video. I looked up a little question about myself, about why was it just little girls? Why wasn't it little brothers, or instead of having little sisters and big daddies, what about boys? Then there would be like little brothers, big brothers, and then big daddies still. But there'd be a different probably version of the big daddies, and different versions of the big brothers and the big sisters. I would get that would be a lot to take in, but think about it. Why would there just be boys? Why would there just be girls? Why not have some boys? And I actually found something out. It turns out big daddies, aka the male versions of the brutes, were actually given a specific kind of pheromone, aka meaning the father-daughter relationship pheromone, as one would say. Like for Golden Sibling number 2.
What's a pheromone?
Oh, so a pheromone. Glad you asked that. Pheromones are different stuff that brings people together. Like for an animal, for instance, like for a dog, cat, or anything, when the puppy or kitty is just now born, they have a certain smell that the mother has to know it's them. If the kitties or doggies get washed before the mother can identify it's hers, she will utterly betray her young and possibly even kill them. Which nobody will ever do, because, well, may I remind you, we've had some history with doing that. Anyway, so BioShock 2 and 1 starts to talk about BioShock Infinite, Brutal at Sea, they start to talk about, hey, the big daddies and the little sisters are not getting along. They have this special kind of pheromone that goes into the big daddies' bodies that keeps them alive. Separated too long or not getting that kind of atom, aka, hint, hint, atom, that keeps them alive, they will utterly go into a coma and die. That is also why when big daddies are separated from their little sisters, they either slip into a coma and die, or they get into a blind state of... For Big Daddy, Bouncer, Lancer, and Bazooka Guy... Sorry, I don't know all the BioShock names, so please do not be mad at me. In BioShock 1 and 2... BioShock 1, the Big Daddies, if they were separated from their little sisters in BioShock 1, they would still try to go to vents and try to find the little sisters. If you collected all the little sisters in the area, they would go to the vents, bang on it, but the first time when they bang, they'll bang a second time. If they bang a second time, it'll act like if they were yelling or screaming out to get them to come out. If the little sisters are all collected, you will only hear a slightly moan, like they are very upset that their little girls are gone. And if you all don't know anything about that, I've actually done an experiment on this. After I saw during a little bit of one of the missions in BioShock 1 and 2, when the little sister does not come out of the vent and the Big Daddy has no right to have one, guess what? They would slip into a coma and die. I saw a Big Daddy actually start to decay and walk and start to feel a little bit more antsy on killing. Like they would say in Bioshock 2, some Big Daddies, aka the Alpha series, aka the Delta 2, or aka, let me say this again, Delta, Subject Delta or Delta Sigma. Sigma doesn't in the Bioshock Extra extension as Charles Martin Porter, aka the Thinker Creator.
Did I put that right?
Yes. Anyway, the Bioshock started to talk about how if Big Daddies were separated for too long from their little sisters, they would slip into a coma and die. Basically saying, hey, if this little girl dies, you die. If you separate from her, you will suffer and you will die due to the cost of your stupidity. But some Big Daddies won't be like that if they slip into a coma. Now, some of you may be asking me, what do you mean by slipping into a coma? So, Big Daddies and Little Sisters, since they share a specific bond with the pheromones, the Little Sisters produce it all the time because of the the leeches that are inside are producing the atom. That's why they need the needle. The needle helps them get the atom so they can produce more and more. The Big Daddy can get it just by smelling it. But may I remind you, the Bioshock Infinite Brutal at Sea, the Little Sisters had to inject the Big Daddy because he's been too far away without any kind of atom around him. In Bioshock 2, they start to talk about how some Big Daddy of the Alpha series, when losing the little sister, they will become in a blind state of rage. The blind state of rage for Big Daddies is like they'll do whatever they can to kill, aka meaning using their plasmas.
What is plasma and how do you use it?
Okay, so plasmas are kind of like genetic goo that lets you rewrite whatever. In Bioshock 1 and 2 and 3, they say this in the sentence. They say you need a sort of kind of a plasma. It's kind of like a genetic goo that lets you rewrite whatever God gave you. AKA meaning that this goo was able to genetically alter your DNA to shoot lightning, fire, telekinesis, you name it, you were able to do it, but some of the stuff still caught my eye. Like in Bioshock 2, the abilities were still there, but they had more of an effect. In Bioshock 1, it changed your arm's outlook, and more of the abilities had more attention than they can do. In Bioshock Infinite, the abilities were different, yet you could do so much more with them. Like instead of like in Bioshock 1 and 2, where you had bees, in Bioshock Infinite, guess what else? In Bioshock Infinite, you had the crows. So basically, plasmas are different. As many of you know, in Bioshock 2, you are an Alpha Series Big Daddy, also named Subject Delta. Subject Delta, as you know, was the Big Daddy who was forced to remove his helmet, give up his little sister to a woman who was gone to a different era. Okay, guys, I'm going to be talking to you by myself for 5 minutes. Anyway, the Bioshock 2 starts talking about more and more about the era of time it's going through, aka meaning this. Bioshock 2 ends up with you losing your little sister. You start taking your walk, and as you notice, you only have your drill. In Bioshock 1, it goes like this. As many of you know, in Bioshock 1, 2, and 3, aka Bioshock Infinite, Bioshock 1 went like this. You can only use your plasmas at one time, and you can only use your weapons at one time. So if you had like your revolver, that's all you had out. If you had your plasmas, that's all you could have out. Now if you think about this as well, Bioshock 2 made it possible to have both plasmas and weapons. So you are a Big Daddy, you can have your drill and you can have a fire plasma active at both times. Although I will have to admit, having both of them out at the same time made weapons way more unstable to use. AK meaning this. Think about it. The Big Daddy, the Bouncer, the Lancer, and the Rousey and the Bazooka Big Daddies, they only had one weapon. The Bouncer had his drill. The Rousey had the nail shooter gun. The bazooka Big Daddy had the bazooka, just different kind of drones you could throw. Big Sister had her nails, and she had the needle, and she had plasma. But your Big Daddy has the drill. But you keep gaining weapons, but you're also using your plasmas. And between you and me, everyone who is watching, remember when I said that the Big Daddies go into a blind state of vital rage if separated from the little sisters? How do we know Subject Delta isn't like that now?
Who's Subject Delta?
Subject Delta was originally assigned in Bioshock 2 to Eleanor Lamb. Eleanor Lamb was the daughter of Sophia Lamb, a psychological prisoner association person. Her daughter was once kidnapped by Sammy, aka the guy who turned her into a little sister, taking her to an orphanage to get her ready to be a little sister, aka being attached to Subject Delta as the story progresses. As the story progresses in Bioshock 2, you'll understand a lot better than I'm explaining it. Anyway, like I was saying though, in Bioshock 2, Subject Delta was in a blind state of rage at the time. His little sister was getting attacked, and he jumps down from the balcony, crushing one of the splicers. Then he uses his drill to drill one, smack one across the head, and then the other one, he just sucker punches one right in the face with the drill. As many of you know, the Bioshock 2 ends up telling more and more about Rapture's story about wanting to be away from God and giving up everything they've ever known, and yada yada. But let me ask you something. Have you ever seen, like, the Big Sister or the Bouncer or any kind of other Big Daddy version have more than just one ability besides the Big Sister, or that they can run through water, or they're stronger, or anything else? The answer is no. Because your Alpha Series Big Daddy, aka meaning Subject Delta, or any other Alpha Series you can imagine, like, for instance, in Bioshock 2, when you get to the Bioshock Big Daddy Development Agency, aka finding out this weirdo guy who's in a big ginormous atom-filled tank, who is, I can't remember his name, guys, I'm sorry about that, but his name is in there in the little Bioshock area somewhere. Just go look it up, I promise you'll find it. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So this guy was responsible for the Big Daddy serum. He says more of the Big Daddies that were made for the Alpha Series can only have one little sister, and they were stuck to that little sister. If they took the wrong little sister, they would abandon them and try to find theirs. The only time a Big Daddy will take another little sister is if his little sister was saved or was killed. Yes, you heard me right. Saved or killed. When you save a little sister, she turns back into a little girl. And you still get Adam. But, as the game tells you, when you absorb her, aka meaning killing the girl and killing the little ink thingy of a leech inside her, you kill the little girl, but you get more Adam out of it. Just a heads up, people, I would never kill that little girl. Even if I had an achievement set to it, I would never do it, to be completely honest with you. I think I would call myself a monster the next day if I did something like that. Anyway, back to business. Bioshock 2 starts with you doing that. Your Big Daddy jumps down, defends his little sister, but then Miss Sophia Lamb makes you take off your helmet and shoot yourself in the head. Now, is that suicide, or is that attempted murder? I think it falls under both categories. You got a psychological woman trying to make you kill yourself, and then the guy actually does it. It's hard to fight that green goo that's on him, too, because that makes the Big Daddies want to be your friend or big sisters.
What do you mean, green goo?
So as many of you probably know, or don't know, in Bioshock 1 and 2, there's a plasma that allows you to throw out a Big Daddy, so if it even has a little sister, or doesn't have a little sister, guess what? Allows you to have a Big Daddy fight for you. But when the effects wear off, it makes that Big Daddy go into a blind state of rage on you. aka meaning, you better be ready to kill that guy when that time comes. As many of you know, though, in Bioshock 2, a Big Daddy, you're the Big Daddy who's trying to find Eleanor Lamb, the one girl you were assigned to. Remember how I said, what if he was in a blind state of rage? Remember, he's killing splicers all willy-nilly. You get to make decisions whether people live or don't live. What if your character still had some positive memories and trying to show your daughter something? But what if he thinks that, what did you think about, why is he grabbing a bunch of different weapons? Big Daddies are supposed to stick with their major weapon systems, aka the drill, right? You are also correct, but also wrong. When Big Daddies go into a blind state of rage, the Alpha series, that's when the extra killing and weapons come in. But there's not only that, there's also a secret ingredient to the blind state of rage for the Alpha series. It's plasmas. You see, the Alpha series Big Daddies are not allowed to use their plasmas. They are given that genetic code to say no. Think of it as like a little taser system for the Big Daddy. Every time they try to grab a plasma, their body would start to ache, hurt, and actually try to hurt them. Only when their little sister is in grave danger, aka stolen, like Eleanor was, are they allowed to actually get the plasma and actually use plasmas more and more. Remember though, this was only if they were in the blind state of rage, when the little sister was separated from their guidance of a Big Daddy. I just blew your mind, didn't I? I hope I did.
You sure did blow my mind.
Anyway, I know we don't have that much time, guys, so I'll try to get a couple more things out there before I end this little video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, but let me finish what I'm saying first. Anyway, in BioShock 1, 2, and through Infinite, you start to notice a little bit of a story. Every story is all mixed up, so I'm going to tell you all the kind of system of origins I think BioShock came to be. I think BioShock Infinite was first, and then it went to Brutal at Sea, then it went to BioShock 1, and then it went to BioShock 2, and then it went to BioShock Minerva's Den, aka BioShock the extended version. So that's my kind of story. If you think the story went by different, you know what, you guys tell me, and I will be glad the next video I will put it in this order, because if it makes... any kind of order right now can make sense. BioShock's story, just like the Five Nights at Freddy's story, it's all over this place. You have to play every single game and try to get an outlook of every single game you can think of. That's like in the Five Nights at Freddy's trying to figure out if Bonnie's a boy or a girl.
The world may never know.
Yes, like she said, the world may never know. Anyway, guys, let me just start by saying BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, and Brutal at Sea, and Minerva's Den, that all their stories had different kind of outcomes to them. All the BioShocks you can imagine had different outcomes to come to them. AKA meaning that, like this. Like, think about this. BioShock 1, you can either get the little girls out of the city to let them live, show them how to love and all of that, and then at the end you end up dying, aka meaning, and then you answer the biggest question. And what was your reward at the end? You wanted a family, because at BioShock 1 you find out you're not a real person. You're a genetically altered scientific monstrosity. Think of you as like a Frankenstein, but you're fully human. BioShock 2. In BioShock 1, you get to also take the key and take the splicers above land and start a massive killing spree. Does not end well. BioShock 1 had only 2 alternate endings, but BioShock 2 actually has 3. And it's actually very, very surprising.
My mom was very impressed.
Anyway, BioShock 2, there's this one ending where Eleanor takes your atom when you die. You're still alive until she takes your atom. Then you see through her eyes, and then you get to see all the other little sisters that you saved and tried to get out of the city before it actually blew up. Yeah, that's right. BioShock 2 tried to blow itself up suicidally by a crazy goddamn mother. Are we all sure she wasn't a splicer being hooked up on Adam? Come on, with the face that look. I'm pretty sure she was. And Eleanor didn't really even love her mother. Anyway, let's continue. BioShock 2 also had the alternate ending of you trying to hold Eleanor's hand. But that's only if you start killing more than saving or helping. So she takes your atom, and then it's pouring down raining. Instead of it being dawn and peaceful, guess what? She takes your atom, and she's like, they'll never see me coming, aka meaning she wants to be a psycho murderous person. She still loves you, she says, but she says, now with your technique, skill, and you always giving me advice, they'll never see me coming. Now, the third final ending is when you do some special egg assignments, aka finding all Eleanor's tapes. When you start talking to her again after you find the last file tape about her, she starts talking about how emotional it's been for her since you've been gone. aka meaning, I missed you, Dad, I really wish you were there when Mom was being all kinds of hectic towards me. Anyway, let's continue with something else I've started to notice. Something else like this. So I'm going to say this one more thing, guys, before we end the video here. This is what I have to say. In Bioshock 2, the end video, Eleanor, you tell Eleanor not to inject you with the needle because you know she would do good either way in real life. She starts crying uncontrollably because you are dying. You still have some time left, so you do one thing before you die.
What is that thing that you do, you ask?
The one thing your character actually does, you point to her heart, but then you die. If I had to guess, that was his way of saying, I will always love you, and I will always be here. This guy did a lot. This guy, even though he wasn't who he said he was, Subject Delta, Johnny Topside, whatever you want to call him, he still tried to do something good for her, even though being gone for so long, it really wasn't his fault. Get out of here.
No.
Okay, guys, so, Bioshock Infinite only has one down ending. aka meaning your guy gets baptized, and then Bioshock Infinite, Brutal at Sea, makes you do this. Makes you go through the whole Bioshock state. So we went from 2 to 3 to 1. And then to 2, and then to whatever else. Okay, guys, so that's all the time we have for right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe. I will personally get you guys another kind of video when I get there. I will talk to you all later. Bye.